Yo.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. I'm Rahgel. This is Sig. This is Sig's fucking soundboard. This kid with a new shiny object that he likes to play with. So throughout the episode, you might hear random shit. Fucking ducks now.
I don't know what happened to you, but duck
I don't even
print
know.
just came all across my screen.
I just saw a duck pop up in the middle of mine. So yes, you're probably gonna hear random sounds throughout the entire episode because he has some new toy that he's playing with in Discord. So bear with us as we deal with. Are you drinking fucking ice cream? What is that?
Orange moonshine with vanilla ice cream and crush.
You are a fucking child.
This is not gonna work. That's okay. This video version will not make it onto YouTube.
You have fucking an adult orange float
You're just
and
jealous.
a soundboard. I'm not jealous at all.
You're just jealous. You don't have one.
You're so fucking fired. God. Oh. So as you can tell, he sits around all day and comes up with ways to you're so fucking dumb. Tries to add ways to annoy me during the fucking podcast. And you can tell it does a really good job. Oh my god. Speaking of annoying, this bullshit with TikTok that you sent me today, I fucking hate you. I'm gonna sit here and wait till you're ready. You get it out now. Go ahead. Get your fucking giggles out. Oh my god.
Oh, that's all of them. I did all 6 of them. We're good.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure. I will clap when appropriate.
You sent me a TikTok today. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Talking with the guy from Reading Rainbow. By the way, I don't know if you knew that.
That's not the guy from Reading Rainbow. No, it's not the original, unless it's a new guy.
No, that's the
That is not him.
I watched the whole podcast and they always introduce, you may know me from Reading Rainbow. I went, huh?
He's not
You
the
look
original.
old.
That's not the guy from Star Trek. He might be another guy on there, but that is not. The fuck is his name? I watch Big Bang Theory all the damn time and they talk about him. He's been on there a couple of times, but that is not him.
Burton.
Yes, that is not LeVar Burton. That dude's head is way too narrow.
He has to be a new guy because I'm looking at LeVar Burton and that's not.
That's not him. No, that's another. That unless there's another guy who was on Reading Rainbow at the time, which there might have been.
He cannot claim Reading Rainbow if he is not on Reading Rainbow.
I feel like he may have been the guy that had the long
seasons.
Oh yeah, I feel like he was the guy with long dreads, the braids, on Reading Rainbow.
Hey, by the way, Reading Rainbow was canceled because no one wanted to put up the several $100,000 that were needed to renew the show's broadcasting rights, which including licensing books to read on air. The second reason was related to the funding issues, which was the direct result of policy changes that started from the Department of Education.
Well, bunch of assholes.
They all stink. It has an 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Anyways, the TikTok video you're talking about.
Yeah, that is not that. Yeah, he's not talking LeVar Burton unless they rebooted it somehow, or he's just a random guy that's on there somewhere, but he's not credited anywhere that I've seen.
It is. I was going after the intro.
Shit that they talked about of the way that a car. Okay, I'm gonna try and remember this whole mindfuck of a TikTok that you sent me.
I will fix any part you fuck up, or I can just tell you.
No, I'm gonna try and remember this.
This is Army talking, okay, not Air Force. Army.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, the guy that helped kick Pluto out of the solar system, broke down how momentum is multiplied in the manner of circular motion from
Okay.
the.
So let me just break this down to layman's term because he's trying to get very scientific and his brain is clearly blowing over here. I'm seeing it happen right now. But the
Maybe.
video is Neil deGrasse Tyson saying that while we are driving, there is a point on the car that's not moving at all, is at 0 miles per hour. There's also a point on our car where it's double the speed limit that we're going, and then there's a point on our car that is at speed limit. And it's all on the wheels, with a section of the wheel that is touching the ground as we are driving straight. It's at 0. It's technically not moving. When it hits the ground, it's at 0. The top is at 2x speed of traveling. So if you're going 60 miles per hour, as he says in the example, you're going 120 according to the top portion of the tires. And then on the side, it's going to
The center.
speed. Yeah, the center is going to speed up. So it's all about 0, speed of, and then 2x speed from bottom tire, center of tire, top tire. And the way he goes on to it is very scientific. I'm not going to let Rahgel try to explain it. It's hurting his brain worse than the soundboards are hurting him right now. I'm not scientific enough to go through it. So go look it up, and it's all over. Neil deGrasse Tyson has a podcast where he goes into it, and it's very, very interesting because if you have the basic fundamental understanding of science, you can track this. Trust me, if you need proof, Rahgel got it. So, but it's such an interesting concept, and not even concept because it's he's proven it. It's such an interesting thing to think that when you are driving, there is a moment while driving at all times that there's a part of your car that's technically not moving. It's at 0. And then there's a portion of your car that's going 2x over, which I think is hilarious because now I kind of want to use that if I ever get pulled over by a cop. Nah, listen. My tire touching the ground was at an absolute 0. The center may have been, quote, speeding, but it wasn't. The center of my tires, the bottom of my tires were at 0. Sorry, sir. Your radar detector's off. But it's all about momentum. The fact that the tire is speeding.
If he saw the same TikTok, he was like, well, technically, you were doing double the speed that you said. I saw the same TikTok, asshole. So
get the fuck off TikTok, do your damn job.
But if you think about it at the same
time,
time,
other people to harass. Maybe
you're in the vehicle, not moving either, while traveling down the road.
Yep. That whole video was like you only got weird. Was it like 3 minutes? It's such a short clip of it because the whole podcast is like that's the only podcast I listen to other than hours.
Then he explained a train wheel.
Yep.
How the flat part in the middle, how it touches the train track. That's 0 there, but also on the outside of it, the lip drops down a little bit, and that obviously, if you below 0, is moving backwards.
Yeah.
And this guy, I'm sure, has a Satan tattoo somewhere on his body, somewhere within him.
I would love to have Neil deGrasse Tyson on the episode.
I wouldn't even know what the fuck to say to the guy. I just sit there in awe with everything he's going to try and explain because I'm going to have to have it broken down
why the fuck they kicked way more out, and without saying the size. I don't want him to mention the size. I've seen that one 1,000 times.
That's going to be the one.
I know it will be. I don't like it.
So, I mean, there's plenty of talk with him. And would it be interesting? Very. Would I be able to ask him anything that he's going to elaborate on? No.
He likes conspiracy theories. That's like my favorite part.
He is a big conspiracy theory guy.
Oh.
But he's able to break it down even more than I would even be able to imagine. So I don't even know. Like, he would probably make me not even be interested in him anymore because he'd break it down and make it make sense. Like, oh, so the world is flat.
I'll find the YouTube video. I'll send you one where he talks about how we could be living in a simulation.
A simulation? Yeah, I've heard that one.
No, I know you've heard it, but he makes it to the point where you listen to it and you're like, this motherfucker.
Oh no, I've heard him talk about it. Yeah, I've heard him talk about it. Yeah, it's scary.
It's
not about being right. It's fucking scary.
So bloody brilliant, though. The fact that it is scary. It's to the point where you're like, damn, the fuck. Okay.
I avoid some of those conversations when they're highly educated and they want to talk about stuff like that, I avoid it.
I
Because
love
then it
them. I
starts.
love those videos. I love those conversations. That's also
starts
that's also why I know weird shit and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I get bored.
you sit around and watch stupid shit. Like
Uh,
who invented fucking Tetris? Nerd.
the Russian guy, it was also thought to be a covert operation to make us feel the Cold War.
I'm of course you get a fucking job.
Look, I'm applying for multiple jobs, thank you, okay? Thank you. I got, speaking of which, we'll just deter from there. This is a life episode. I got a job, and you want to talk about super scammy and like suspicious? So I applied for a gov job, and if you're not aware, listening, the government has access to know whether or not Rahgel and I are in fact military veterans. They have access to this system, and they can see if we've ever been part of military. Like they don't have to need our DD-214, which is a form to prove our service. They don't need that. They can go and fucking search this themselves. Why am I breaking that down? Because it plays into the story. I applied for the job. The guy called me, I think it was yesterday, and he messaged me on LinkedIn. He's like, "Hey, do you have a few minutes to talk? I'd like to talk about a position you applied for." Like, okay, cool. It's a remote position, so I can work from home and still watch the kids. And he calls me. He's like, "I just got a couple questions. Think of this as like a pre-interview. We just need to get some ideas checked off and see if you're a good fit." And the first one he asked, of course, is, "Did you serve in the military?" I go, "Yeah, I have a DD-214 to prove it. I have a ribbon rack to prove it. I have coins to prove it," which nowadays means nothing because coins are a joke.
So you
And
can buy ribbon wrap off anywhere.
that's true. Mine smells like military. It has that stink on it. But anyways, so I was like, I have all this, but yes. And he goes, "Okay, I need you to send that DD-214 over to me. I need you to fax it over or email it to me." At what? As to no, I didn't add OJ to mine. No, I don't. I'm almost there.
Don't touch it.
No, I told her she can have the rest because I made one. Side note, that was my wife. That's why I'm keeping that in. But anyways, so he questions my military service, and then I told him I have all this stuff, and he goes, "Okay, I need you to send all that over." I go, "Why do you need me to send that over? You work with the government, right? I found you on a .gov website, USAJobs.gov, by the way." And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're private sector with the government." I was okay, so you can look my DD-214 up. You can look up my whole service record. Well, yeah, we can, but that takes a lot of time, and it's just easier if we get our applicants to send us the DD-214. So, well, I'm not really comfortable just sending my DD-214 via email, even if it's like triple encrypted email, because that still has like my social, that has my full name, that has my birth, that has everything you ever really need to know about me. And he's like, "Well, we really just need it or else you can't progress through. So if you're not going to send us our DD-214, then we may not be able to hire you." And literally just at that point, I was like, "Well, then I withdraw my application because this sounds way too sketchy. And never once have I had to forward my DD-214. Even when I was going to go work a few Intel jobs when I got out, they didn't need my DD-214. They literally just said, "You got a top secret clearance? Cool. Can you prove it? Cool. Okay, we'll research you in the database." And he's like, "Well, it's because you had a top secret and now you don't. Are you sure that's not active?" "Yes. My 7 years has ran out. I've been out for a bit.
Hmm.
My secret is getting ready to run out, I think this year or next year. I forget which." Like, "Oh, okay, okay. I just really need that DD-214. And when I told him I just pulled my, throw me out. I don't want to be a part of this anymore because it was sending off way too many red flags. Man, did he flip the script so quickly. And I just, no, no, no. Well, I guess we can look to the database because we really need people hired and we need to get this going. And there's a lot of projects we have online. So are you still interested?" "Nope. No, I'm not. There's something about this. Maybe it's you, but there's something about this whole interaction that has now made me just go, red flag. I can't do this." And I can't find much about their company because they are part of a intel agency subgroup type thing. So there's
Mhm.
not a lot of information out there to begin with, and it's just like, ugh, so sad because that was a good paying job too for a remote position where basically they would have to come in and secure my office so I can work from home. I would have to travel to uh, Fort Leavenworth to do any type of missions that were required once a month. But hey,
Really?
per diem, so yay. It's that Air Force per diem, so cushy hotel,
Your
nice
own
food.
butler,
I
laundry
mean, if it's
service.
in there, no, I don't let anybody touch my clothes. No,
Mm-hmm. Say that
I do the
now.
laundry here. Before you
But
say,
that's the
oh, he
scary
has
part too.
or he has a controlling issue. Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I
we
know
know
how
that.
much soap I want.
So many episodes in, we know this. We're aware. But again, that's the scary part of like I don't know if it's a job that I really wanted. Like, yeah, I can get you my DD-214 without even thinking about it. But
Oh, I
then,
couldn't.
like you had said, is the way they're asking about it, and if it's a secure sector or an intelligence sector or something like
Yeah,
that, yeah, they should be able to do all that. Me, I was never in intelligence like you worked it, so obviously you're gonna have a little more handle on what's going on as far as background on who can do
yeah.
what. But obviously the government can search anything they want, find the information they need, pull whatever files they need, and
Fabricate.
yeah, trying to trying to find jobs like that. Yeah, there are a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
A lot of them are great paying jobs, but the way that some of the veterans that are out there are taking advantage of, in the sheer fact of they know that they want a job within the government because
Yeah.
that's where they
It's a
were
comfort zone.
happy. Yeah,
Don't
they
call it
were
happy. It
comfortable
was a
in it.
comfort zone.
They were comfortable in it, even though they were getting screwed majority of the time. But it's a comfortable screw.
Yeah, it's a.
If that,
Mine was a lubricated dildo. His wasn't. His was
I mean,
sandpaper.
but it was something that you can easily fall back into,
Mhm.
and it's played upon
The familiar
really,
zone.
really sad because it's something that is not going to change. It's probably only going to get worse
Mhm.
because of how many there's so many now guys that are getting out that
Well, it's
don't
so
have much
much.
going on.
It's so much worse now though because in my sector or the sector I keep trying to like get back into, and it takes so much for me to do it. Because like I either had to make massive compromise with like family, or
Mhm.
it comes across way too sketchy. And I know I get a lot of people. I once had my dad say, "You like," I had an opportunity last year present itself, or 2 years ago present itself, and my daughter was in the middle of pre-K, and so it had been last year. And I was like, I don't want to uproot my family. I don't want my kid to get out of school and have to start all over because I wouldn't want that. I didn't like that when we went through it. I didn't like having to make new friends. I didn't like going through that. And I always vowed one, I'd never get married in the military. I didn't. I got out, got married. I never wanted to put kids through that because that's a whole different like bag of hell, and kids just don't comprehend it, regardless
Mhm.
of how much their parents want to say, "Oh, they understand." They don't. They resent you for it. It happens. It's just the facts of life. And I didn't want to put my kids through that. And I remember telling my dad that, and him being like, "Oh, well, she's only in pre-K. She'll forget about it." I remember a lot from when I was 5. You're asking a tall order for my kid, who is very social, very outgoing. Sure, she probably would bounce back from it. Maybe she remember, maybe not. But the moment down the line of resentment or saying, "Well, you like, I don't want to live here anymore. I'd rather be back in Kansas because I would move to Texas." Be like, "Well, I moved down here for a job. I moved down, like, I didn't want to ever go through that. I didn't want to be in a position
Mhm.
for that." And I remember even having friends and of course family going, "That's stupid. You guys would be better off." Well, that's cool. I have moral values that eat away at me, so Sorry.
Yeah.
It's so scary now though, because one of the jobs I applied for, like, they look into your social media. And I'm not just talking about like a gloss over like Walmart, Target, Best Buy, JC Penney may do. Just make sure you're not a full bigot or racist or posting scandalous stuff that could hurt their image. No, like they deep dive into yours. And I had one ask me questions about my streaming and like what I did and why do I stream and all that stuff. And if I ever talk about religion or politics, and that's why we don't talk about religion or politics on here too much, if at all. And that's simply because it can be misconstrued so quickly, so heavily, with no leeway at all. And there was an episode they brought up of one of my live streams where, like, well, you talked about, I talked about what I did in the military. I was like, well, did you watch all of it? Well, you were bashing one of your senior NCOs. I was like, yeah, I was, because he's a piece of shit and he had it out for me because of something my dad did to him when he was a E1 to E3. So yeah, he was kind of a piece of shit, petty little fucker who never grew up. Like, I'm not sorry for it. That's just what happens. That's how the military is. And they didn't like that. They're like, well, that's kind of bad imaging on the military. I was like, okay, well, it happens, and I'm not retracting it. I'm not taking my stream down. Joke's on them. The stream's no longer up because it was on Twitch. But they were so hard pressed on so many things I had just made like slight mention of, or that I'd mentioned what the military called a deployment, and I don't call deployment because, again, it was Georgia and not the country. I went stateside for a remote deployment. Like,
so a CONUS.
Yeah, so I was like, this isn't a deployment, but the job classification was because of Horn of Africa and all this other, like, it was all red tape type stuff. It made no sense. So people were like, "Oh, you've ever?" Yeah, but no. It's always no, because I refuse. When I think deployment, I think like Middle East. You're going down the desert like you did so many times. Where you're actually gonna get shot. I may just get shot if I go down the wrong neighborhood. Right, going to ATL, whatever. But it's so weird that even now, because that was a couple years ago or last year, whatever. Now it's so much worse. Oh, are you on TikTok? That's literally one of the questions I had to answer. What's your TikTok handle? If we were to search your name, would we find any other accounts associated with your name via TikTok? What's your alignment on political parties? I was like, that's a weird question to start asking. And they have like a left or right. There was no neutral. There was no center. There was I don't participate. It was left or right. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I stopped applying for a few of them just because I was like, I don't agree with any of this. I don't identify with either one of these. I don't classify, or I don't want to be classified. So I was like, oh my God, done. The one that was like, how many YouTube channels do you got? I was like, just clear this application.
We're not going to go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah. So I was like,
can you send us over your browser history? Pulling that one too.
Okay, sure. Because it's all in incognito if I have to do something sketchy.
Incognito mode doesn't work.
Doesn't save it to your browser history. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I don't care about my IP history. I have a VPN for that. It's the browser history I care about. The most they're gonna get is, how the fuck were you over in South Korea at 8:31 this morning, but then in Chicago, and then in London? I'm a superhero? No, I'm a supervillain. That's better. Everybody expects way too much of heroes. They expect nothing from a villain.
True. So, I mean, applying for all those jobs, I remember applying for a lot of those when I got back from Afghanistan, and I never really got anywhere as far as, phone calls like that from USA Jobs and stuff like that. But I had a lot more of mine were internal for AGR jobs and stuff like that. And then they didn't go anything crazy like that. It was just normal boards. Yeah. But I never had USA Jobs like that. I never really got contacted through any of those. I think they just kind of died in the application process.
They hold on to you for like 5 to 6 years, so you can't reapply for it for some time. It's stupid. The massive flaw.
But seeing the turnover now, the fact that the drawdown has been going on for what, 5 years, maybe.
I feel like it's been going on close to a decade now. I feel like it started just shortly after like a few years after I left.
Because I got back in 2011, and they were still going. I mean, yeah, maybe. But now the guys that are getting out, the transference of military job to civilian is one thing that has always been
Shit show.
mind blowing to me, because obviously infantry doesn't translate into civilian.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to talk about not translate? Try to translate intel and then be like, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I can just tell you I know how to keep a fucking secret and handle sensitive material. Well, tell us about a time of which a mission was maybe a little too complicated. I can't tell you because it's still classified. Well, that just sounds like you're making an excuse. Bitch, if I wanted to tell you all about the Horn of Africa and the crazy, fucked up shit I saw between children and adults, I would tell you to ease my conscience. I can't.
But you at least have a job interview where you can be asked that. I don't have a job interview where I can say, tell me how you killed this person. No, it's not how I.
That. They can't ask
That's
me
what I'm saying is, but there's a job interview that you could have in relation to the computer. There's no relation for infantry. There's no like contract killer, hitman, and everybody's like, oh, police officer. No, it doesn't translate. You do not get any credit or anything for being infantry to become a police officer in any way.
I will tell you what, I paid not recruiter, a headhunter, whatever you call them, somebody who looked out for jobs for me, and they specialize. I couldn't think of their proper names.
Are you trying to get somebody killed? Like, I paid a headhunter. So okay, and now you said it. Yeah. Now you said looking for jobs. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're talking
They're
about
headhunters, but anyways, but he specialized in military transference, meaning he could take whatever you did in the military, except for intel, and transfer like the skill set. Basically, all military, he's like, you have proficient work in Microsoft, 100%. I was like, oh, because of death by PowerPoint? Well, yeah, and you guys only talk via like typing in PowerPoint, yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing he did mention, because he knew I was military, he just assumed I was Fort Riley, which is the base here, and so he thought I was infantry. And he's like, oh, okay, so infantry. What we would do for our typical infantrymen would be, you have leadership, you technically have dedication, you are slated more for managerial skill sets because you can take orders, you know how to relay orders, you know how to follow orders, but it's not a specific. It's not like you can go be a car dealership store manager. It's just you can be management because you know how to take orders from the top, make sure it gets relayed to the people below you, and properly execute. And he always had a way to transfer it. And
you're now a McDonald's line cook.
So, but there was a couple where he would be like, yeah, you'd be better suited for like intel. He's like, you'd be better suited for technology. That's all he could really tell me. He's like, you know stuff. You know how to analyze and detect patterns, basically, because as network signals is what I did, we had to know, okay, well, this signal's coming in, it should be at these megahertz, it's not, okay, something's interfering, what's like, there's a lot to it. And pattern recognition was one of them. But it's like talking about getting fresh out of the military. I don't know how the Army did it. The Air Force, I thought it was kind of a joke. They taught us how to write a resume, but if I write a resume, I took it more as you can type the tips and tricks in Microsoft Word on the resume format, and it will say, this is the skill set you should do. It wasn't very good. They didn't help apply for any jobs. I was also coming out of Germany, not US. So the one thing they did push a lot on was No company should ever ask or require of your DD-214. Never. If they require or ask it, you should already have been hired, because that is a protected government document that is not required by anyone and is actually federally protected. So if anybody says you're required to have it, you can tell them, okay, go look in um, the government system. Go look in DDoS. Go look in, I forget one of the two other ones, but there's 3 or 4 systems that are open to the public. Anybody can go see if they've done service. So you can Google has so and so first and last name. If you know middle name, it works better. Served in the military, and it'll bring up a service history because that's public forum at this point. So they were just very heavily on the do not give this away. So when this guy asked for it and said what was required, it's like, no. You can go find that all in the DoD database. You can go find that, and this Intel database. Like, I'm everywhere. You you can find it. Oh well, nope. Sorry, this is too sketchy for me. And I don't want to say it wasn't paying a lot of money because it was like $120,000, but in Intel, that's entry level for us, which is why kids finally get to the point where you can go to school. I might as well try to get back in the workforce. And now that they're allowing remote positions for like day to day activity, and I would just have to drive up to either Leavenworth or Wichita, but I can't drive to Wichita because there's a conflict of interest there. So it's interesting, but still super scary when you think about all the fools they can play so quickly, because so many military members do come out kind of wearing those rose-colored glasses of, oh, I can get out and just hop back into my field. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is if it's truly your field and you know what you're doing. But there's a lot of people taking advantage of that too. And me being Intel, I am on such a different high alert with everything. Of just paranoia is probably the better word. I don't believe you. I
Yeah.
don't believe you.
No, I mean it's definitely something to make you think, but a lot of the guys aren't thinking because I mean they're dead, they're done. Like they're mentally done and they're exhausted. At the time they get out, they want to be able to just live a somewhat normal life. And if you're not retiring from the military, more than likely you're not living a very comfortable life because you're essentially starting over.
No, it's not essentially. You are scrapping, unless you go back to that field, you are scrapping your life and starting fresh.
If you're not able to, if you're not out young enough to go back to college and use your military GI Bill to go to school and then pay extra to pay off whatever else that GI Bill doesn't cover, and then try to do it that way, and you can start your career at that point, good on you, because you're able to do that. But there's other guys that are, getting out at 30, some are out at 40, and they're not retiring.
I got out at 22, so I was still young.
Mm-hmm.
I was still brand new baby face. Legally in the U.S., I was just starting to be able to drink. I've been drinking for 4 years at that point. But getting out, even then, I used my post 9/11 bill to go to school. So I got a business degree because I figured, hey, this translates everywhere. Business degree allows me to work in any industry, in any field, no matter what, because I can run a business. Didn't work out. Used up a chunk of my 9/11 bill to go to school. Then decided, well, let me go into a specialized field. So I got a computer science degree. Again, job market very competitive. Unless you have 5 to 7 years inside the field itself, you're not getting into it. And most tech fields or cybersecurity fields, they don't want to consider your military unless you've been in the military for more than 10 years, at which point they're like, oh, okay, you have experience in this field. I heard it through numerous interviews of, oh, you did 4 years? Well, tell us what you did. Well, I was networking signals. Well, what does that mean? I explained the job description. Well, can you tell us more about what you did? No. It's kind of top secret. And like there's one point I did a job interview, and I remember getting out and I got debriefed by a full bird colonel, and he's like, hey, just FYI, no, you can't go to Mexico for a few years after getting out. It's a rampant drug cartel, and you technically worked down in San Angelo, which their mission is the drug cartel down there. So you technically can't go into like 2021, 2022. I was like, cool, don't care. No desires. And he's like, well, it's just in case they kidnap you and they try to extort you for knowledge. What fucking knowledge? I know nothing. I literally know nothing. I know who El Chapo is. That's it. Well, that's too much. But I remember them basically giving me a booklet saying these are the places you cannot legally go until X year, XY year. And Russia was on there for like indefinite.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is stupid. All because they think I'm going to know something? Yep. Yep. That's pretty much it. Pretty presumptuous of you to just assume I know anything. I can tell you how big a whale's penis is and a gorilla's penis, but nothing useful to you. But if you feel like trying to torture me, go ahead.
So we now have your Google search history.
That's
animals'
just,
penis sizes.
That's just Nat Geo.
So, yeah.
That's documentaries, bro. That ain't nothing history-wise.
So let's see. I got in 2006, and I was 20. So I got in at 23, and I did 9 years. So I got out at 32. And being National Guard, obviously, you still have your full-time job, living somewhat of a normal life with your monthly training and shit like that. Now, throw 2 deployments in there, basic training, everything else. So it was, and all the other trainings I was going to, I never had a career set up. I had a path I was going, but then I realized that there was no money in that path, so I changed career fields, and then got into manual labor when I got back from Afghanistan, and that was killing my body. So then I figured out another job that I am doing now, which saved everything and doing really well from that. But I did school when I got out as well. I used up the GI Bill. I never got a degree because the colleges I was using ended up folding and my credits didn't transfer. And so that fucked me. But yeah, starting at essentially 32, trying to build a career at that point, it's tough. I didn't have a degree. I went to an actual university for half a semester, and that didn't work out because I couldn't afford it.
Hey! University of Phoenix is still a college.
No, this is an actual university that I went to.
It says university in the name,
but it was for military. But then after I went to it was all online. I did not want to go to a school. I didn't want to be around people.
Look, I'm the same way. You ain't gonna catch any slack from me because my wife's even like, "Why don't you just go to K-State? It's right here." Because I don't like people.
I don't want to deal with that.
People.
I don't want to. No, because I will not benefit, nor will anybody else in the situation of me being there. So I took online classes, and they were great. I liked doing it. I know what I had to do. They kept me on a schedule, everything like that. It was doing great. And then, like I said, one of the schools folded. And so I just like, okay, well, I guess I'm done now because I can't restart because I lost that money in the credits. So thanks. So moving on.
My school's folded. I contacted the VA concerning it, and they gave me all my GI benefits back for that because it wasn't their fault. And they contacted the school, and they just transferred it over to my University of Air Force credit since I had it there.
Yeah, the accreditations went away when the school folded.
Wow,
which was weird. And then there was nothing I could do. But yeah, trying to take it from that point and start your career, it's tough. And there's a lot of guys that are getting out that don't know what to do, and there's no real path in between. There's no help.
There's no path. There's nothing.
No, and it's been stress since I was in trying to figure out something for those guys to do. And there are now a few organizations that are started by guys that are getting out to try and help that, but nothing's caught on Nothing is mandatory.
They're
Nothing is
local.
set
They're
in
far and
stone.
few in
Yeah.
between. Like,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah. I mean, you're just now starting to see a lot more for disabled veterans to try and help them out with what they have. I'm not talking about fucking Wounded Warrior Project or like that because I'm not even gonna get on that joke of a thing. But there's other guys that have started stuff, but there's just stuff that should be in place that's not there, but it probably never will be. What's going on right now?
I don't know what you're talking about. You're seeing shit.
You're playing with fire now and waiting for me to catch on fire.
I won't. But
Good
no, I
problem.
mean, no, I mean it's such a weird transition, such a terrible transition, and honestly, I'm assuming it's probably the same for you. I don't know how long you've been with your wife, but I know like for me, it was a terrible like the first month or two was amazing because you're like, yes, I don't have to go to PT every morning, every afternoon. For me, it was I don't have to go to PT 3 times a day to train these stupid fuckheads that can't eat right and stay in shape and simply score a 75 on this damn score. And it was just a relief of like not having to keep secrets or not be able to not talk about my day. But literally, I think after like maybe 45, 60 days wore off, I kind of that panic set in of, oh shit, I need to do something. I don't know what to do. And I literally job searched for probably about a month before I remember somebody asking me if I ever thought about taking or using the USERA Act. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. So I was working at Walmart before I got in the military, making good money as a high schooler. Like we're talking about at that time, $11, $12. I was well above minimum wage. And the perks of the USERA Act, for anybody that doesn't know, is you are going to get all your pay raises that you should have gotten as if you were still there. Any promotions that you missed out on, you have to be given the opportunity to make equal or higher, and you have to be held with all your tenure. So technically, what turned up to be like 3 years in Walmart, thanks to the USERA Act, it shows as though I was there for like 7 or 8 years by the time I actually came back, and I was
Mhm.
making really good money. And honestly, I had no issues with working with Walmart at the store I was at. I enjoyed the store I was working at. But when I tried to transfer to follow then girlfriend, now wife, up here, the store up here was dicking around and refused to take me and basically said, we don't have a spot for you. But I left a job at $31 an hour because they didn't have a fucking position for me. I'm not salty about it.
Not at all.
Not that I would be making like 40 by now, but I'm not salty. But it's just one of those things like I only went back to Walmart because again, comfort zone. I knew Walmart. I knew that specific store because of high school.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a weird time. That's also where I met my wife, and to the point of like there is dark times too. Like I'm not gonna play it off like there weren't really terrible, terrible dark times. Um, but not having someone there would have played out on a whole different story, whole different grand scheme of things. Like I think I've told my wife this. I know I've told my mother-in-law this. I haven't told my parents this because it's a whole different can of worms. But there was a time before, and I was literally to the like dark point, dark moment. I was like, I'm done. This is stupid. I can't get anywhere. I'm not gonna progress anywhere. I gave up my military career because of politics. I'm so done with all this. And definitely had a moment. Tried to end it. It jammed. So didn't end it. Act of God, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody didn't clean the fucking weapon after using it. Wasn't me. But can't complain now. Two great kids. But it's just there are so much dark moments after that, and the smaller organizations that are unable to gain traction to help veterans who are getting out. And the fact that there is yet to be a big one to just kind of come through and be like, you can come through us. We'll be a nationwide agency. We'll open up a remote station in every state where you can remote in, apply for a job. We'll help you through it. We'll take the first interview for you. We'll get you in the door. There is nothing. And the closest we had here in Kansas, we had to pay for them, and that's the guy I was using. And he always guaranteed, you'd have a job with him for 6 months. He handles the first interview, and then he hands you off the second interview, and he sits on the phone call with you, so where he can kind of help translate things for the employees who were confused on what the word SCI meant or TS stood for. Anybody wonder? Top secret clearance. That's all it is. And he did a really good job, but he ended up having to go out of business because it wasn't profitable enough for him to gain anything. The fact that he had, looking back, such a stupid policy of, if I can't get you a job in 6 months, refund you your whole money back. Joke's on you. You haven't worked with Air Force intelligence. You're used to working with Army people. Air Force intelligence is a little tricky. And
Yeah.
It's so weird. But that's only kind of what I've been up to, by the way. So much fucking more.
The transition's always the hardest thing. Like so we've been dating for coming on 9 years. This next 9 years next month.
I have you beat. Okay, we're good. You may be older than me. I've been in a longer relationship than you.
We were 9 years next month. We actually started dating when I was in, I think it was my last year and a half. And the whole thing was like, we started dating. Her friend's like, oh yeah, he's in National Guard. You won't see him that much. He'll be gone. He's gone. He's at least gone once a month. And then
Pindopotamus.
The month during the summer he's gone. Maybe a month out of that too. Well, then I got out, and then she's like, "Oh, you're here now."
Don't you have drill? No. Oh, you're here all the fucking time?
Yeah,
I didn't sign up for this. I'm sorry. No. My girlfriend told me you were only going to be here 200 days out of the year, not 365. I want my money back.
And then having the transition from obviously having a relationship and then transitioning out of the military, it's nowhere near active duty. So I can't even compare it to because I don't know it. So my transition out wasn't as difficult because I had a full-time job. I had a place to live. I didn't have to worry about, finding all that stuff. But then there was obviously a big hole because, you don't have that communication back and forth of being in E6 when I got out. Guys I had to look out over, like you had talked about, morning PT you had to take care of, and a bunch of shit bags that were too fat to run, trying to make weight, like that. You don't have that, and then once you're out, that communication dies quick.
Oh, so fucking quick.
There's no need for them to reach out and check on anything that's going on. Granted, you do make friends. There's ones you're going to keep in contact with.
Yeah.
But there's no leadership huddles, formation talks and like that. Obviously, you're not in formation if you're not in the military. But there's no monthly leadership huddles that you're going to be involved with anymore. It's just that trying to get used to that. Yes, you do feel like you have a shit ton of time because you have dropped a lot of baggage, to say, because you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. And I was extremely, extremely happy when I got out. And I think probably a year after, I was like, what have I done? Granted, just National Guard. I mean, it's not like anything crazy, but like there was a big hole. And I was like, maybe I should get back in. Thank God I didn't. And because I had
talks me out of that every year.
And I think so did mine. We had a conversation. I was like, I'm thinking about getting back in. She's like, why? And I couldn't answer. I was like, I miss it. She's like, what do you miss?
It's an abusive relationship. I like it. They have my CDs. I need them back.
She kept asking us, like, what do you miss? And I'm like, honestly, I just miss the camaraderie.
It's the
It's
structural organization of we all hate this fucking job, but we're in this
yes,
together.
and then I thought about, I was like, you know what, I don't miss the hurry up and wait. Let's get to the range 6 hours before anybody else does. Sit around, and they get bitched at because we're sitting around, not doing anything, not training. I'm like, I can only train out of the manual. I can only make up so many drills, so many different scenarios. I can only do all that so many times before everybody looks at me like, dude, can you just leave us the fuck alone? Like, yeah, sure.
Do your
Like
fucking job.
I can make us disappear and make it look like we're busy, but I can only do it so often till the commander, first sergeant finds out, like, hey, you guys are doing anything. Like, I'm trying to look busy, but shit, you gave us way too much time.
Yeah.
Like there's only so many hours in a day you can train until you just start beating your head against the wall.
That is such the hypocrisy, though, is when you get into the service for the first time and you go through like basic or boot camp, whatever you want to call it, it's all about time management. It's all about showing up on time, which is 15 minutes early. It's always about hurry up and wait, but it's always about we need to do these things. You're going to show up for a class at 8:30 until 11:30. And then at 11:30 to 11:35 you have a break, but you need also be over to class B by 11:45, which goes till 13:30. And it's all in like a very structural time set. But then by the time you get there, it's, oh no, yeah, I know you're in this class or you're in this project, you're in this whatever, for the next 3 hours. We're not actually going to do anything for the first hour. So we're just waiting for everybody to show up, even though everyone's there. And you're just waiting for the instructor, or you're waiting for somebody to. But I had times in basic where we had a class and we were supposed to be there. We all showed up. The instructor showed up, and he literally just dicked around on his phone for like 30 minutes. He goes, "All right, we're done," and he just left. That was it. And this was a 2-hour class session that we had on history of the U.S., USAF, and I just remember going, "What the fuck just happened here?" But you can't talk because it's basic. You have to be quiet. No talking to each other. So everyone's just kind of sitting there, and of course, my dumb ass, along with our sister flight leader, we're both in like the dorm chiefs, dorm leader, so we're in charge of them, and I have no idea. Can we fucking leave? Can we file for formation? Can we? Lunch isn't for like another hour and a half. What the fuck do we do? Not to mention there was a shortage of TIs, so we're all just like,
you just sit there.
yeah, we did. We sat there for an hour, hour and a half until our TI came by, and then we got our ass reamed, and I got my ass reamed. What the fuck are you doing, Sal? You're supposed to be outside in formation below. I was like, bro, you what? What?
The teacher, nobody understands.
I couldn't even talk because it was like, yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Why are you sitting around? Can I tell you the truth? I like the internal monologue in my head. When I say I talk to myself, y'all don't even understand the length of conversation that's going on inside my head. I literally sat there and had a full-fledged scenario play out so bloody fucking quick to see if it was worth me being lippy and be like, sir, we didn't have a teacher today. Like, he disappeared 30 minutes in the lecture. I don't know what you want me to say. We're sitting around because he said, yeah, okay, that's it. But instead what came out is, I'm sorry, sir. Won't happen again, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, line up for formation. Let's go to chow hall.
Okay, cool.
And at night, we're all just going, why didn't we leave? Sorry, you should. I was like, bro, shut the fuck up. Don't bitch to me. It's 8:00 at night. Shut the fuck up. We're all supposed to be in bed, asleep. Sleep in your cot, because we're gonna get woken up in 2:00.
Yeah, no, there was no trying to get away from any of that shit. So I don't even know. It was definitely weird timing trying to figure out what the fuck to do with yourself when there's nothing to fucking do. Hence why safety briefs were invented, because of lack of time management.
Well, they have time management. They just chose to use that management on their time slots for stupid shit. Like the safety briefing of, look, just because she says she likes you Just because she lap danced for you does not mean you need to marry her that weekend. Is that understood? Good boy. Sit down and don't. No, no, you tip $5 to $10, nothing more. She will take you for all your money. And if you don't get the reference, then you have never served in the military or talked to anybody in the army.
We had to have a safety brief on pocket knives in
Yeah.
Afghanistan. Not knives, because we were playing
The
who can
knife
get
game?
closer. Oh no,
Oh,
this
were
is
you
with our
throwing them?
shoes.
Oh,
We were
oh,
throwing them at our feet to try and see how close to
Yep.
our foot we could get.
Yep.
And I retired fairly quickly. Very, very quickly when I threw one and it went through the edge of the boot into the ground, into the floor. So it was the sole of the boot went
Yeah.
right through the edge of that. And I said, okay, I'm done. I E5 at this point too. And I'm playing with other guys. And I'm like, okay, I'm done because I guarantee this is not going to go well for me if I put a fucking pocket knife through your boot and something happens. So I'm going to retire at this point.
So, but
So I call it good.
speaking of safety brief, because I'm sure you have a well, maybe you don't because you're not active. What's the strangest, weirdest, most asinine safety briefing you've had, or you had to deliver? Either which one.
I mean, we've had, I don't even know.
Oh, I got so many. 'Cause
I mean, the
had
pocket
I had
knife one was
question.
definitely weird.
We have that one too, but not for throwing. We were playing the knife game where
Like
it's
the alien,
I
like
don't
an
know.
aliens.
There's
Yeah,
a
between
song
your
that goes
fingers.
along with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget the song. But yeah.
I can't. I mean, it's been a long time. I'm trying to think of safety break. We've had some dumb ones, but I don't even know if I have no idea.
We had so I don't know if I talked about it before. We had a don't drink underage one, and I'm not saying that's super asinine, but the reasoning for it was fucking stupid. The fact that we had a 22-year-old take a 20-year-old 364-day-year-old dude out for his birthday, and they got hammered and decided to come back to base. He turned 21 the next day, but all the bars served him alcohol because his license just showed that he was turning 21 the next day. They're like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Oh, there was one that really just we got don't sleep with anybody in your sister flight. Oh, foil does not go in the microwave. Oh, the reason I don't know if we talked about this because I tell this story a lot when I'm talking about my military career because it's so fucking funny every time. Fire dogs in the Air Force are our firefighters. When we're in training or when they're in training, their clan title is fire dogs. That's how everyone refers to them. Intel, my job, when we were all in our rooms, you had the fire dogs on floor 2, 3, and 4. You had Intel on floor 5 and 6. And then on the very first floor was our Space Int guys, Space Intelligence. This would be what's now known as Space Force. But if you want to be Space Intelligence, just FYI, that was a 24-month schooling. You went to school for 24 months. You need to go work for NASA afterwards. But anyways, so floor 2 through 4, fire dogs, firefighters. And it's like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. I just got home from the bars, massively drinking underage. Snuck in. I can handle my liquor and doesn't look like I'm a slosh. I don't talk to people. I just go to my room. Anyways, so I'm getting ready to go to bed. And my roommate comes in. Him and I both going to bed. Next thing we know is our fire alarms are going off. We have sirens going off. And we have somebody coming over the PA saying, please evacuate the building. There's a fire. Follow your safety procedural routes. There's a fire. And just repeating the same thing over and over. We all make it to the flight line. Flight line's like 2-3 blocks away from the apartment complex. Fire dogs have a specific area they have to go. Intel goes a little bit further. Don't know why. But anyways, that was the flight line. And we get out there, come to find out, because it was made very known very quickly by all the MTLs that were there, that a fire dog had taken their burrito from the night before and just stuffed it in the microwave while they were taking a shower for 3 minutes. The microwave blew up, caught fire, set fire to the plywood desk that we had, and it wasn't a big fire, like the building wasn't up in roar, but the room definitely got some fire damage to it. It is fairly contained, for better words, and they got it out. The NTLs were able to get up to the second floor. They sprayed it, done. But we all still had to evacuate. Why is this funny? Well, one, the fucking fire dog set a fire. Jokes right itself. But also for the fact that the only people that knew the evacuation plan were Intel. The firefighters did not know their evacuation plan. They did not know where to go. They were missing half their crew at the end of it when we're doing a head count and we're doing formation, we're lining up and everything. Keep in mind, most of us are in underwear and a t-shirt, maybe just underwear and flip-flops. We're not dressed. And we have our fire dog MTLs are literally scrambling around everywhere to find these missing like 100 people who are in a whole different flight line at a whole different building. Why? Because they didn't fucking know where to go. And it was so funny. And then I think like 2-3 days later, they both ended up getting recycled. They weren't allowed to be fire dogs anymore. They had to go back and be reclassified. And the funniest part was the fact that we had to be sat down by a E6, so a tech sergeant for us, and he had to sit down. He's like, all right, come here. How many of you know what goes in the microwave? And most of us raise our hand. All right. How many of you put foil in the microwave? I want to say nobody raised their hand. I'd be lying. A good portion of like, you can put foil in the microwave for like 3 to 5 seconds. It's fine. And he literally sat there. I will never forget his face of him just cuffing his nose, taking a deep breath, and just going, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a drunk. I can't kill them. And me just going, did he say kill? What the fuck's going on here? So we had to have a whole safety brief about aluminum foil and why it does not belong in the microwave, and had to dumb it down as best as they could. And then like no metal goes in the microwave because somebody said, oh well, you can leave a fork in there, you can leave a spoon, that's fine. No metal goes in the microwave. Period. Dot. End of conversation. No ifs, ands. No microwave goes in, or no metal goes in the microwave. And then somebody's like, well, I can put like certain things. Nope. If it starts sparking, take it out. Don't leave it in there. Second half of that was, do not cook any food and then leave it unattended. The dumbass that left it unattended, his roommate, was like, it's just a microwave. I can go take a shower. He was like, really? How'd that work out for your buddy? And he just quickly shut up. And so every like 60 days to 90 days, we had to have a safety briefing about fucking aluminum foil. Because firefighters, cooked a burrito in aluminum foil in the microwave while taking a shower. The only other safety briefing I remember so much, and it's because it technically involved me, not directly. I was the one who reported it. Was one of my roommates. I had a few. This was my last roommate before they allowed me to share rooms with a buddy. Had one roommate, fresh out of high school, 18 years old. Couldn't shit on him too much because I was 18 at the same time too. But I wasn't fresh out of high school type deal. I was out for like 6 months. Whatever. Anyway, so he decides while I am at the club again, drinking that I shouldn't be. He's at home. He's brand new to the squadron. He's brand new to the unit. He's brand new to my dorm. I have talked to this guy a total of 3 days. That's it. So I don't know him very well, other than he always came off very um, mustache only creeper type guy. If you catch my drift, known in maps now, but um, really weird vibes. And I remember coming home pretty tipsy, not drunk, and I remember I just had to go to the bathroom. I go in, red behind my toilet, red on the walls, red on the sink, red on the floor, red in the walk-in shower. What happened, you may ask? Oh, he cut himself. He cut his ball sack and had been bleeding so bad. This dumbass then proceeds to go lay down and go to bed. His bed is stained red. He had to go to the doctor's, and the way they put it is, well, it's a good thing you caught it. You caught it. You could have caught it a little bit sooner if you weren't out so late, but it's a good thing you still caught it. You care to tell us what you were doing? No, no. I was at Graham's, which was a club that allowed military members in, and they're like, okay. And a week or two goes by, he heals up. He's still stupid as fuck. We had to get a safety briefing on how to properly shave. And at first, we're all like, yeah, we know how to shave our face. And that MTL was so fucking embarrassed. E6, tech sergeant, he couldn't do the briefing. He passed it off to an E5 staff sergeant, and he's just like, I'm not doing this. I did the aluminum foil. You can do this. I'm not doing this briefing. And of course, this staff sergeant's not even with our unit. He's technically fire dog, and he's like, "Oh, no problem. I can do this." Oh, okay. So we had to then be taught there is a proper and safe way to groom yourself. And
Shave your balls.
no, I'm gonna say how they did. There's a proper way to groom yourself as to minimize bleeding, and if you suspect bleeding or you see blood, to not proceed with shaving, to stop it, take tissues or toilet paper and try to dab it or a band-aid if you can. If bleeding proceeds profusely, do not keep shaving. Stop shaving. This is very, very important. Stop shaving. Do not shave if you cannot see. Use a mirror. Smartphones were literally just coming out at this point. Just coming out to kind of predate everything. And we're like, okay. And he had to literally get a mannequin from the hospital. This is how you should do it. Make sure you stretch skin. And we're all just going, oh my God. You fucking serious? And he came back. He didn't get recycled. He didn't get washed out. But everybody knew his name. Everyone knew his name. I don't even know if he's still in the service anymore, but I will never forget that because the way they ended it was, and hopefully you have a great airman roommate who is actually doing the buddy system and looks after you, like Airman Sour over here. I was like, please don't tie me out. Don't associate me with this fucking moron.
I don't want anything to do with it. How do you get that? Like, sorry, I've nicked myself before, but I've never like
In between the butthole and the tank, there's a not a major, but there's a blood vessel or whatever down there. He was missing skin.
I guess whatever.
They had to
Fucking
take
weirdo.
pictures of the entire bathroom just in case he died. They had to take
How did it get on
pictures.
the wall?
I fucking to this day I have no idea the amount of blood and the fact that this dumbass still was like, I'm gonna go to bed. My only thought was he had to been lightheaded that he's like, I'm gonna go slick this off. But it was all over the walls, the sink. The sink I kind of understood, like maybe he just plopped him up there to shave. Shower, kind of understand. He's trying to rinse off. But there was so much blood. So much blood. I was just to the point of like, I'm not squeamish, but I also don't like blood. I'm not one that's gonna faint. Thank God I was tipsy because I didn't care. But I remember my buddy at the time came over and he's like, I don't know how you did that. How did you not whip his ass? I was tipsy. I'm telling you, this dude is thankful I had been drinking.
No, like
Oh
I,
my
I
God.
wouldn't. I wouldn't even. I mean, obviously, that'd have been an awkward one to even try and ask for help for.
Oh, CQ. There's blood all over my bathroom. I didn't check him. I literally just said, there's blood all over my bathroom. I don't know what's going on. I need somebody
No,
up
I
here.
mean, being the dude that did it, like I don't even know how it is. Like, hey, I was
Oh,
shaving.
oh, his reasoning? You
Yeah.
want to know that? He was and this doesn't mean much to other people. He was trying to impress our 1 and O's, which are briefers, people who brief and debrief people. He was trying to impress a girl over there because he thought she was pretty. Were they dating? No. Did he know who she really was? No, he just got there 3 days ago.
And his first thing was, I'm going to shave my balls and everything else to make sure she knows that I'm.
I fucking don't know what his
Whoa.
train of thought was. I remember I had to ask questions after he came
Wow.
back. And then like 2-3 days after it happened, they're like, you can't sleep here. It's biohazard. We have to clean it. You need to move. Do you have a preferred roommate? And I was like, literally anyone. Anyone.
Not that guy.
And one of my buddies was like, oh, you can come to my room. We'll hang out. Cool. Okay. Hang out with him. But just fucking weird shit. Everyone's like, because I tell people that, and they're like, are you sure you were in the Air Force? That sounds like some Marine shit. It's like, it does, doesn't it? It really does.
Moral of the story: don't shave your balls alone. Always have a battle buddy in case you nick yourself and almost die.
That's not the moral of the story at all.
So exactly that's all I got from it, from the safety brief and everything.
I got from if you see blood, stop.
Never shave alone.
No, no.
Never shave alone.
Someone's gonna be like, hey, buddy, come here. No, I can't shave it myself. I'll pass off. I bend over too much. You just shave it for me. I sit down, spread eagle, and just lift it up. You shave.
Yeah. Last man shaving.
No. No.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, those are the only two.
Lone shaver.
It's the last lone shaver. But it was just, those are just two I remember so distinctly. And I know I told my wife it, and she's just like, what the fuck? Especially that blood one. Everyone has the same story as why. It's like, dude, I was drinking. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I mean, I was 18 years old, drinking, underage. I snuck back onto bays, past curfew, and this happened. So, yeah, I wasn't really asking a lot of questions. I wasn't really talking a whole lot in case I was slurring my speech worse than I normally do. I don't want anybody to get any suspicions. So I was very protective of my character. Now I just like, drink all the time. But it was such a weird thing. Had something similar happen to when I got stationed over Germany. Wasn't as bad, but he definitely left his hairs in the common bathroom that we shared, and he would leave beer cans and everything. There was one night where he definitely had pubic hairs all over beer cans that he left on top of the toilet with a note in there saying, sorry, I nicked myself. I tried catching the beer cans. I was like, what?
What the fuck?
What is going on? What?
Weirdos.
Wasn't even my dorm either. I just got placed there. I was just, oh my god. It's fucking weird shit happens.
Oh yes.
Always.
It gets weird.
That's an understatement. Our conversations get weird.
Yes.
The military gets. It's a different breed.
It is. Yes, definitely a different breed. Very.
Oh. Yeah, that's the only reason why I want to know if you had any weird ones. Because I was like, oh, I remember these.
I can't think of any.
You're lame. You fucking old ass man.
I can't think of any. It's been so long since I had a safety brief or even remember any. So I don't know. I'll think though. I guarantee I'll be able to come up with one or two. I have to think though.
I'm gonna get text at like 1 a.m.
Oh,
I remember
hey.
one. Like, hey, my do not disturb is on for a reason. Leave me alone. Don't disturb me. Listen to the fucking command. There's so many of them. I have to do another episode on that, but it's just so weird. But I never had any more safety briefings, major safety briefings, once I left tech school. The rest of them were the traditional: don't add to the population, don't subtract to the population, don't go to jail if you do want, like that type. And we always had the remember, if you're going to travel abroad, do not share any secrets. Do not talk about your missions. And when I first got to Germany, we were told, listen, there's going to be a specific group of guys, group of men from specific region of the world that will try to get you kicked out of a bar. There'll be 3 to 4 of them, and they will try to get one of you kicked out of the bar. Just know, do not follow them. Do not go outside the bar with them, because they will gang up on you, and they will use you, and you will be assaulted in the most unpleasant way possible. And they will each take their turn with you. Of course, they use a lot more colorful language, which I don't feel like using on here tonight. But they emphasize it, and they said they will always outman you and out-team you. So just remember that. And it was always a girl that had, or a woman that had to give the safety brief to us. Every 6 to 9 months, the new people would come in, and you had to basically hear the same thing again from their commanding officer at the time of, just remember, certain group is known to do this in this part of town. Don't go there. And that was probably my biggest fear for the first like 6 months of, God, I can't go out to the bars. Can't do it. I'm too pretty. They'll do it. Can't do it. So it was, that's a whole different thing. This is my stories for tonight.
I'll think of some. We'll have another episode like this.
An impromptu one that starts off with Neil deGrasse Tyson just fucking mind fucking our brains.
And then ends in the same way, but of 4 people.
I don't want to go through that again. I'm good.
Oh, go through it again. Okay.
My time has been served. I'm over. That's really all I got. So, yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thursday nights, video game stuff, channels.
The video games on Twitch, Sig's over on YouTube, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, whatever else you can fucking stream on. He's on it.
OnlyFans.
I got nothing else.
Geekfinder.com.
I'm ready to go. I'm out of here with your bullshit. Bye, bitch. Fucking.